My name is Molly, I'm 19, and I suffered from depression. I think I always kind of grew up with a little bit of anxiety. I always had a lot of pressure on myself to be perfect and to make good grades. And I think that that's where I found my identity for a long time, was in the fact that I was smart. And then I got to high school and suddenly that wasn't enough for me anymore. I was still one of the smartest people in the class, but suddenly that wasn't enough for me. And I started comparing myself to other people. I wasn't pretty enough. I wasn't popular enough. I didn't have enough friends. And that's when things really started to go downhill. I even started struggling with suicidal thoughts, and suddenly it was the only thing on my mind. This one story comes to mind. This was the only time in my life I've ever seen my dad cry. Something had happened and I was having a lot of anxiety about a friendship, and I just started having a panic attack. And it ended up with me on the floor of my kitchen, hacking at my arms with a fork, and my dad saw, and he just stood there. And he cried and he tried to speak. He tried to tell me that he wanted to help, but he didn't know how. And it was heartbreaking to see my dad want to help me, but he couldn't. I think all of my depression and anxiety and insecurity boils down to my identity. And so what it took for me to overcome this was a change in my identity. What happened was I grew up believing in God. I always believed that He was real, and I was always trying to do anything I could to please Him. I went to church, I said my prayers, and I hoped that that would be good enough. But I never had a personal relationship with Jesus until this depression brought me to such a low place that I thought, I have nowhere else to turn. Maybe God can help me. So I started to read my Bible, and I had all these questions. I took them to my pastor, and I just asked him all of my questions. It was a page front and back, and he answered all of them. He was so patient. And then he said, I have a question for you. Do you have a personal relationship with Jesus? And it was that night, October 27th, that I put my trust in Jesus. He became my Savior and the Lord of my life. And in that moment, my depression was gone. God is so good. I've been given hope. And when you have hope, your life looks completely different. My identity has shifted. My identity doesn't rest in how pretty I am, how popular I am, how many friends I have, or how smart I am. It simply rests in the fact that I am loved